Hello. Today, for you, I've got nothing. At least, nothing scripted. Nothing pre-planned. I just thought I would talk about a few things, if you'll give me a few minutes. Covering several sort of items, several subjects. I'll start off with Mark Steele. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mark Steele is a guy who is anti-5G. He seems to think that his council, Gateshead Council, are installing 5G weapons in streetlights and it's going to fry babies' heads or something. All very idiotic. The guy's got quite a history. He's been pushing this for quite a while, causing issues with his council and so on. I think there was even some sort of order against him for hassling a councillor. I'm not entirely sure. And of course he has some legal history as well. He goes on about how he is a weapons expert and goodness knows what else. Well, I knew this was coming, but I didn't know the form it would take. But Mr. MC Toon has just done the most excellent video about Mark Steele. I mean, I've had a go at Mark Steele before, as have others. But this one was just sublime. I'll make sure I put a link to it. Sorry, up there by the clock, because you do not want to miss it. Talk about getting totally busted up. Talk about looking like a total idiot. So watch it. You'll regret it if you don't. MC Toon takes him to the cleaners. So it'd be interesting to see what, if any, response from that we get from Mark. While I think of it, Multi-Tom-Tom, in a couple of live streams, Multi-Tom-Tom, he tends to come in the side chats and he says his stuff and that's fine. I have no problem with that at all. And we keep saying to Multi-Tom-Tom, come onto the chat, come onto the chat. And he said that he doesn't do Discord. I don't know quite why, but then I was thinking, I don't do Skype, so I can't criticise him for that. But he did say that he would come on and do a one-on-one debate or chat, because I offered both, with me via Zoom or something else like that. And so for the past week and a half to 2 weeks, something like that, he said, yeah, he'll email me. Well, the news is, and credit to TomTom, he'll emailed me. It's not 100% whether it'll be on. He said he's got, he might have some work commitments, and that's fine. We all do, either work or family commitments. So if he can make it, that'll be good. To be clear, I offered both, and he just wants to have a chat, and I'm fine with that. So this is not a formal debate. There'll be no winner, no loser. To be honest, it'd be nice just to have a chat with him, find out a bit about him, where he's coming from, why he believes what he believes, and so on. Take it from there. Maybe from that we'll come to a debate another time. Who knows? But I thought I'd let you know. What else have we got? Anthony Riley. Anthony Riley in the past has come up with all sorts of weird, wonderful and wacky flat earth theories. The one I particularly liked was the redshift blue shift causing sunrise and sunsets. But be that as it may, he's not really done much with regard to flat earth lately. In fact, I think I'd go so far as to say nothing at all. He's been doing videos more on COVID, and I don't know if I'd go so far as to say sovereign citizen, but certainly getting a bit political about the way the country is being run right now. And I wanted to address that a little. Tony, you've been going on about our freedoms being taken away, but and claiming it's against our human rights. You're not stupid, Tony, in that you pulled up the relevant sections of the Human Rights Act which explain when those rights can be overridden. And one of those, of course, is to protect public health. That's why the government's doing what they're doing. No one likes wearing a mask. No one likes having to not see friends or family, or perhaps go to the pub or your football game or whatever. But, I mean, COVID isn't something you vote on. It's not, oh, do you know what, I think COVID will be a good idea. Oh, I'm against COVID. I'm not going to convince you COVID's a good... No, COVID just is. Wherever it's come from, and I think there's no doubt it's natural, but wherever it's come from, it's here. It's got to be dealt with. The way you deal with a disease is isolating yourself from it, whether that's wearing PPE, not going near people who've got it, holding people in isolation with some diseases. Because if the disease can't get to you, you can't get to the disease. Now, it can get to you via contaminated surfaces as well, but that's a whole other issue. I saw a comment on a video the other day, and I can't remember it word for word, but basically, and I thought it was brilliant. This commenter was saying, in 1939, he was talking about the students and the lockups and so on, but in 1939, people that age and younger were volunteering to go to war, quite literally putting their lives on the line with a very good chance they weren't coming back. What you and I and our friends and family are being asked to do is wear masks and not crowd down the pub with your mates watching football. There's not really any comparison, is there, Tony? Yeah, it's a little bit of a hardship, but I'd hardly call it a dictatorship. It's not something that's here forever. It's a stopgap measure, not to cure COVID, because that won't, but to limit it. We've all seen about the R number and the number of cases going up. If you reduce the contacts, even for a while, you'll reduce the number of people who've got it. And the less people have got it, the slower it can spread. Because the main thing is, what we don't want is 3/4 of the population all sick with it at the same time, with that commensurate number of people who have to be hospitalised, and that portion of those hospitalised who need intensive care, because we'll never cope with that. So what we have to do is slow it down. Hopefully, and I really do hope, hopefully sometime soon, we'll get a vaccine. Vaccines, eh? What is with people's stupidity? We know it's that Dr. was it Andrews something or other a few years back who suddenly made those unfounded and disproven claims about autism and the MMR vaccine. He kicked this off. That guy has and will have the blood of so many people on his hands. I hope he can sleep well at night. We got diseases like polio and TB that are virtually knocked on the head because of vaccines. I mean, the whole thing with measles, you're never going to be able to vaccinate everybody. Some people literally could not be vaccinated because of either allergies or other reasons. So they're reliant on the rest of the herd being vaccinated. Because if you don't get people who can catch it, they can't spread it to others, including the vulnerable who can't have a vaccine. And that's all we're looking for with corona. Slow things down until we get a vaccine. And all this crap about Bill Gates and vaccines, people do not know what they're talking about. They go on about his corona patent. People aren't the only creatures that get a coronavirus, and there are a lot of coronaviruses. Pigs get it, chickens get it. His patent was to do, if I recall correctly, with a vaccine for chickens. Nothing to do with people. And I forget the numbers. I heard recently that just due to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, millions and millions of people have been safely vaccinated. Millions and millions of people who otherwise would be at risk of dying or worse. That sounds funny. Worse than dying? Yeah. A lot of these diseases, if you survive them, can totally ruin your lives. They can disable you. They can leave you in pain. They can leave you suffering. I mean, I can always remember Ian Jury in the Blockheads. And Ian Jury, he had that problem with his hand or his arm. And I, when I was younger, I wondered what that was. Turns out that was the result of polio. That's something that doesn't happen nowadays because of vaccines. So if you personally do not want to take a vaccine, Tony and the others, well, I suppose fair enough. We're not going to force you. But you spreading this crap, encouraging people who just don't know or just don't understand, is wrong. Vaccines are proven to help eradicate and limit disease. No vaccine is 100% safe, of course. There will be people who react to it. And I don't know the percentage of people who may have a problem with any COVID vaccine. But it will be a lot less than the people who will be suffering with COVID. So I guess let's move on to Kate Shemerani, toxic nurse. Nurse. If I'm not mistaken, I believe you were a nurse for about 5 years, around 10 years ago. And did you specialise in disease that required vaccinations? Did you, Kate? I think not. And, if you honestly hold the belief that there's something wrong with this potential vaccine, because we don't know, because we haven't seen the vaccine yet, because there isn't one yet, but if you honestly believe that, that's fine. You need to raise that. You need to present evidence. It's no good holding protests and just getting people to refuse a vaccine. And all this stuff about tracking. They'll track you. And don't take the NHS or tracking app. You people are ridiculous. Do you not have phones? Every phone has to broadcast its location so that the cell service knows where it is. That can be picked up by the relevant authorities, the police or whoever. You don't seem worried about having your exact location known because of your mobile phone, do you? And quite how a vaccine is going to enable you to be tracked, I don't know. And with the tracking apps, they're not really tracking. It's just saying, I was in this pub for a while on the 17th. That's all. I mean, have you any idea how many CCTV cameras there are? As I said, you've got the mobile phone. You go to the cash point, that registers you there. You purchase a packet of sweets at the local gas station. We know where you are. You're not gaining anything by not taking a vaccine. You're just putting yourself and, worse, other people at risk. I want to talk about QAnon briefly as well. Not all the ins and outs of it, because it's a load of rubbish, but I have noticed from time to time in some comments on Flat Earth and other videos an insult which is coming up quite regularly, accusing people of being paedophiles, which is what the QAnon thing is all about, really. The QAnon, for those who don't know, is that, and I'm not going to comment on the politics of Republicans, Democrats. Hey, it's not even my country. But the QAnon idea is that President Trump is leading some sort of investigation into the elite who are Satanists and paedophiles and kidnapping babies and goodness knows what, and that Trump's going to take them all out and get them arrested. So this shout of, hey, you're a paedophile, basically because I don't agree with something you're saying, that technique is dehumanisation. By dehumanising the enemy, you're reducing the guilt in people doing harm to them. So if everyone kept saying that about me, some would start believing it. And then I think, well, I don't care about him. He is just a paedophile. So any tactics used to get him, whether that's doxing or insults or whatever, is justified because he's less than human. So if you have a disagreement about what someone thinks, that's fine. If you think that they're mistaken, that's fine. Show them. Make them look wrong. Make them look stupid. But dehumanising by basically saying someone is subhuman in some way, that they're not worthy of the respect of debate and argument, basically inviting some sort of underhand tactics and pre-justifying it by saying it's okay, that person's a paedophile, we got to take him out. Those tactics were used big time in the late 1930s into the 1940s in Hitler's Germany. This is where I will, just for this one aspect, pick up on Trump. He really should call out QAnon. I believe he's done it slightly vaguely today. I don't know how much he does and doesn't know about them. Obviously, they tend to be pro-Trump. That's not to say everyone who is QAnon. But he needs to call them out as wrong, because those sort of tactics are dangerous. They're dangerous to everybody, from whichever side of the political spectrum you are. I was going to talk briefly about Nathan Oakley as well. Not about his flat earth arguments, but the tactics he used. This is it, it's tactics. That's what people are doing. We all know his tactic is to shout over people, mute them, and even boot them from his server. And Nathan, I mean, you've said a lot of things that I would regard, and many people regard, as very stupid. But I don't believe that you are a stupid person. There might be bits you don't know about, but everyone has things that they don't know about. That's not the problem. But, if you want to try and earn an income from YouTube or flogging T-shirts or whatever it is, that's fine. There's no problem with that. But I do question any morality of someone who can knowingly lie about stuff. I mean, you could be another flat earther pushing flat earth, but honestly believe it and making some money, and that's fine. You can try and persuade people of one thing. I'll try and persuade them of something else. That I don't have a problem with that. But we all know, and it's been shown, that the earth's not flat. I just wonder, in years to come, what your kids are going to think when they find your name plastered all over the internet with regard to flat earth. It's not really much to be proud of, is it, Nathan? I would genuinely enjoy sitting down in a pub or something, or over a meal, and chatting about it. I can imagine plenty of flat earthers, certainly Anthony Riley. I could imagine doing that with him. I disagree with him totally, but I could imagine sitting there and having a chat with him about it. What about you? Are you different in real life? Is this all just script and just for show that you put on your show? Because it isn't any evidence, Nathan. I mean, you cherry pick what I said, that part quote. Now you're doing it about Simon Dan. And with the best will in the world, here is an honest top tip for you, Nathan. You're trying to make an income from YouTube. Okay. The stream you've chosen, Flat Earth, is dying at last, but it's dying. You look at all the flat earthers who have gone. Rant is gone. Mitchell from Australia, he stopped. I don't think he's done anything for about a month, and the last thing he did was a mirror of Anthony Riley. And Anthony Riley's not really doing Flat Earth. The best I can find is Multi-Tom-Tom and the guy who thinks the clouds are behind the moon. That's who you've allied yourself with. There is no evidence to support your position, every evidence against it. So if you genuinely want to earn, then you're going to have to choose a different subject. Because being a shock jock on a subject that will, at this rate, not exist soon, is not much in the way of career prospects. Anyway, I don't know how long... 20 minutes I've spoken for. Well, as you see, unscripted, and I just thought I'll let you see a few of my thoughts. I will just say that Mage, my balloon experiment, is still going to be sometime soon, real soon I hope, so keep an eye out for that. And I thank all those people in the community who've supported me, who've been friends. That's those who supported financially, those who have just sent emails in the side chats, my members, my patrons, the sponsors for Mage, the amazing people that I have met over the past 16 to 18 months. You're absolutely brilliant, guys. Stay sensible. I appreciate and would like to thank each and every one of my wonderful patrons. Thank you.
Shut up and sit down.